All right, so we're about to call Stan the Rhino Efferding. Stan is somebody that has helped me over the years with so many different things I can't even count. They say that you're the byproduct of the 5 people that you hang around, and you don't really know what that means until you hang around some people that are just on another level than you, people that can help you level up. And Stan the Rhino Efferding has always been a person that has been able to help me raise a level up. When we first met, I was super fat and super broke, all the way to the point where they were going to raise the rent at SuperTraining gym, and I could just buy a few $100, and I couldn't figure out how to make ends meet to make the next payment for the gym. So, but Stan had such a big impact on me because he came in and he showed us a different way. He showed us that you can be jacked, you can be tan, well in his case pale. You can be jacked and you can be pale and you can still lift like a motherfucker. Stan came into powerlifting and dominated. He does have a little bit of a powerlifting background from years ago, but mainly he was a bodybuilder. The mistake people make when they think about Stan is they think that he was a pro bodybuilder and an ass-kicking powerlifter at the same time. And he sort of was, but not really. When it was time to bodybuild, he hung out with the best bodybuilders in the world. When it was time to powerlift, he found the best powerlifters that he thought would get him to world record numbers the fastest. And in this situation, it happened to be me, the people's coach that he came to. So Stan has been a good friend for a long time. He's helped me through many things. He's helped me go from fat to ripped and rich, jacked and tan, meathead millionaire that I am today. So from one meathead millionaire to another, Stan the Rhino Efferding, I'm not scared to say this. I love you, my brother, and I'm going to give you a call right now to get more help from you. It's great to have people like this in your corner. Oh, there's a half-naked picture of Stan. Whoops. Wrong button. Here we go. Rhino coming up. I'm going to scoot a little closer.
Mark.
What's up, Biggs?
How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
Did you get those lazy losers to work? Oops, are we on speakerphone?
Yeah, we're on speakerphone. I got my number one loser, Chris Griffin, here filming right now.
Yeah.
And let's go over this blood work. You know, last time you helped me out, and I went from having really pretty piss poor results to having less piss poor results. And I guess let's kind of first start out with some of the stuff that you said in the email.
Sure.
If I'll look over it here, and you were talking about so let's first kind of talk about the RBC, the red blood cell count, and what are some things that you had me do to lower that, and why were they higher in the first place?
Well, let me back up one step and just say, in general, I'm really proud of you for having taken this initiative to look at your health. I know it's easy as a competitive athlete to just say to yourself, I'm going to do whatever it takes for as long as it takes to be the very best. And sometimes you don't want to see what you might be doing to yourself, because you don't want that to impede any of your goals. And so, but I found that when you do this, when you take an effort to get healthy, to find out, if you're performing optimally, that it improves your performance long term. So the blood test is always the first thing that I recommend. And now that, if you can't or don't have insurance, you can't go to a doctor, or if you don't have, if they won't run the types of tests that I think are necessary, then, you can go to my website and at stanefferding.com and look up the blood test that I have on there. You don't have to go through my website. You can use this private MD labs. You can go direct to them. But through my website, you can get a 15% discount. I've been using these guys for 10 years. I've had over 100 blood tests with them in that time. And I've gotten very familiar with the process. So I just called them up a few years back and asked them if they would offer a discount to customers that I would refer, and they said they would. So I don't mean to belabor the point, but it's so important. I think that athletes, you have a big audience of hardworking athletes, and I think this is one of the first things they should do is get a blood test, go to my website, click on blood test. It tells you exactly which test to get, takes you right there, and you just go down locally and get some blood work, and they email you your own results. So
yeah, it's not going to be something that you it's not going to be something that you feel if you're not healthy. I mean, even in terms of taking performance enhancing drugs, there's a huge difference between smoking marijuana or drinking alcohol and taking performance enhancing drugs, or even versus having a bunch of caffeine. You're going to feel the caffeine, you're going to feel the marijuana, you're going to feel the alcohol, but you're not necessarily going to feel when you're taking something like a PED. Over time, you'll obviously get stronger, you'll gain muscle, you'll kind of see some results, but you're not really going to feel it. And on top of that, you're not going to feel a lot of the changes that are going on in your body with or without PEDs, having bad cholesterol readings, having high blood pressure, and some of those things. You're not always going to see signs of it. You're not always going to have any clue. Is that correct?
Absolutely, and everybody responds differently. So you don't know how your body's responding, not just to the PEDs, to the performance-enhancing drugs, but to the increased body weight possibly, to the workload possibly. You just don't know how that's affecting you. Or if you're utilizing your nutrients in such a way that you're creating deficits. Maybe your diet's inadequate, or maybe your body is overusing particular nutrients that you need more of. And these blood tests can help you discover deficiencies, as well as discovering problems with your blood work.
Cool. Yeah, so if you can just kind of go through this email step by step by some of the things that you said and kind of why you said them, that would be great.
Yeah, well, I think the number one, like you mentioned, was the hemoglobin, hematocrit, red blood cells. Those are generally indicators of blood thickening, and that when using performance-enhancing drugs, even on TRT doses, even on low doses from a doctor, blood thickening is a common problem, and that's something to pay attention to so that you don't increase the chances of a stroke or something like that. And that's easy to remedy. You just go down and give blood, and I think that was my first recommendation from last fall, that you go down and donate some blood. And as a result, you notice that you had a decrease in your hematocrit and your red blood cells from your tests from just last month.
Yeah, I gave blood since we last spoke. I gave blood twice. I gave blood before I had this test, and then more recently, just a little bit after I had this test done.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this test, it showed that you did have a reduction, and I was going to recommend from this new test, particularly because we'll get there, along with the increased thickening of the blood, generally you'll get some increased iron. And yours came down significantly from last September until recently, but it's still slightly elevated. And so if you've given blood since this test, then you've already finished one of the recommendations that I have, and that's something that people should watch out for. Thickening of the blood is certainly something to manage, but the high iron is potentially a big problem as well, because high iron can affect your organs, and that's one of the big reasons, particularly your liver. So secondarily, the very next test is we'll go down the list here, is your AST and ALT for your liver. And previously, yours was elevated. It was a little over 2 times normal, which I think is out of my comfort zone for healthy. And now, yours is quite reduced. It's normal, although it looks to you, 0 to 40 is the range, and yours is at 48. And that might seem, it's still high. But the fact of the matter is that that's normal for someone lifting weights. The same enzyme that the liver releases that's detected by these tests is also released from muscle tissue breakdown and hard work. And so heavy training can create some lab abnormalities that aren't necessarily specific to the liver. They can just be floating around in the blood as a result of breakdown from muscle tissue. So I think this is very healthy. It's very normal for someone who's exercising regularly.
I know a lot of people, they get back some weird readings about creatine. What is that? Is that just from exercising, or is that an accurate thing? Is that something that people should be concerned about?
Creatinine is actually, I think, the word that you're looking for, and your bun and your creatinine are both indicators of kidney health. The bun's a measure of urea levels in the blood, and urea is made from ammonia, which is toxic. But having said that, that's another indicator that you're breaking down muscle tissue from hard work, and your bun and your creatinine will often be elevated as a result of just hard workouts. And even a high-protein diet necessarily can do that, but it's not because it puts a lot of strain on the kidney. It's because the amino acids are broken down into nitrogen as well and converted into urea. So again, the blood work is looking for particular signs or signals in blood that may not be coming from overworked liver or kidneys. They might just be coming from the normal breakdown process of muscle tissue. Probably a good time to mention I'm not a doctor, and that I'm not giving medical advice. But
you sound like one.
I think that people should pay attention to these things very closely.
Hey, you're not a doctor, but you are a patent holder on some. You have some sort of product, don't you? I mean, I don't want to sell it right here on the YouTube channel or anything. I don't want you to plug it right now, but right, something like that.
Yeah, that's true. Blood test. You have to get a blood test and a cooler in order to stay healthy.
Is that with a K?
That's a cooler with a K.
Yeah, I thought the way you pronounced it, I thought it was definitely with a K.
I put that on my website as well, right next to the blood test.
Hey, something important to point out here that is actually not on this that's not in this information, which is kind of funny. A lot of people know that I've been doing the ketogenic diet, and from 9/16/2016 to 4/18/2017. I've lost a lot of body weight, and so my voice cracked right there. You hear that? I lost a lot of body weight. I lost probably about 45, 50 pounds, somewhere in that range. And this isn't, never am I trying to have an advertisement, except for when my book War on Carbs comes out. Never am I trying to have an advertisement for ketogenic style diet. It's something that I follow and has helped me lose weight. And the weight that I lost is probably the biggest contributing factor to my blood results getting better, and not necessarily a particular style of diet, although that diet always fits my lifestyle really well, and it's something that I'm actually able to follow, which we've learned from Stan the Rhino Efferding on the PowerCast, that is the most important detail of any diet, is choosing one that you can actually follow. Is that right?
Yeah, and what you said there, it's not probably because of your weight loss. It's absolutely and number one, the most significant factor in improving your health is losing body fat. These tests bear that out, and I talked about it with respect to the McDonald's diet, the 7-Eleven diet, and more recently the ice cream diet. All of those people who ate at a calorie deficit, no matter what they ate, and lost a significant amount of body fat, improved all of these health markers that we're talking about today. Their blood sugars, their blood pressure, their cholesterol, all of it was significantly improved as a result of weight loss. So first and foremost, if you can drop body fat, you're going to get, your blood work is going to get healthy. You're going to get a lot healthier, no question. And whatever method you use, such as the keto diet for you, to achieve that goal, whether it be counting calories or whatever it is that you do, whatever one you can stick to, then do it, because it pays dividends in terms of your health, no question.
You mentioned, the C-reactive proteins, inflammation, and that for me, my triglycerides and stuff like that was okay, right?
Yeah, your triglycerides are great. They're in normal range.
Yeah.
And even eating all the extra meat and all the extra fats, your cholesterol has hardly moved.
Yeah, probably eating like almost 50 grams of fat per meal almost in some cases.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
There's plenty of research to show now that that's not an unsafe thing to do, that eggs don't cause an increase in cholesterol. Fat doesn't make you fat necessarily. Calories do, and it's a completely different function in the body when you eat cholesterol. It doesn't
Now we get into the meat and potatoes. What everybody wants to know about is the testosterone levels, and this ends up coming out quite interesting because I'm 40, and you guys have seen Bigger, Stronger, Faster. You heard what I've said in that movie before, and since the age of 25, I've been following the Bigger, Stronger, Faster prescription. Let's just say, the results of my testosterone were kind of just fell into pretty much normal range, right?
Yeah, testosterone's normal.
Yeah, so I, basically, over the years, when you compete, you make certain choices when you're competing. You're trying to go as hard as you possibly can in the gym and out of the gym as well. And once my elbow was giving up on me, I decided to take a different route and try to be healthier and safer. And let's not ever undersell this to people. Steroids can be dangerous, especially if you're not monitoring your blood, you're not checking your blood, you don't know what's happening inside your system. And just like any other drug, they can be dangerous. And so I always stress that to people. It's important. It's an important thing to know. And so anyway, I obviously lowered mine because you can see here the results. Mine are still. What was it?
Previously, it was over 1,500. That wasn't an actual measurement. It doesn't measure over 1,500. It's
right.
Greater than 1,500.
Yeah, and then I was at.
You could get greater than 1,500 with 2 cc's of test a week. That's not unusual.
Right.
I do TRT doses now, and I've talked about it before, and I like to try and maintain my range somewhere north of 1,000 if I can, not the 1,500 right in there. It fluctuates so much, it's difficult to really keep it within a fine range. And I could do that on 300 milligrams a week, no problem. I prefer to take the test propionate because I think it keeps my estrogen lower and keeps my water retention down. As compared to a testcypinate, and so I just take 100 milligrams every other day or 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I'm able to keep those ranges in what I consider to be a safe zone. Now, too much of a good thing, as you say, can potentially lead to health problems, particularly for certain people who respond negatively, because everybody responds differently. You don't know until you get a blood test how you're responding to what you're taking. Obviously, the orals can have a harder impact on the liver than the injectables do. But too little of something that is good or necessary can also cause problems. And we see now with the long-term research on testosterone replacement therapy that those people who don't have adequate testosterone have a higher likelihood of all-cause mortality. And that includes things like what people would traditionally think to be testosterone-related problems like prostate cancer.
Right.
Is higher in people who have low testosterone, as well as cardiovascular problems and just all-cause mortalities, cancers, and cardiovascular issues. So hormones are very important. I think maintaining an adequate level of testosterone can improve not just quality of life, but your life expectancy is what the research is suggesting. But it could be a delicate dance if you're not watching your health, seeing how you're impacted by it.
Right. Yeah, mine, my testosterone levels went from over 1,500. Stan mentioning that it doesn't count over 1,500, so I was off the charts there for a little while. And with this reading, it was 778. Stan kind of summing it up, basically saying you're probably better off, staying a little bit higher than that. My estrogen levels went up. It must be all the reasons for all the crying and stuff.
That's probably what.
You said the estrogen went up, but then you kind of had an explanation of some other things that were going on. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, your prolactin also went up a little bit. Those kind of have gone up together.
What's prolactin?
Your prolactin is it's a hormone released by the pituitary, and usually it kind of goes up and down with your estrogen levels. It's a dopamine antagonist, and it also can cause erectile dysfunction. So that's something that typically rises when people take things like Tren or Deca, but it also rises just with estrogen increase. So it may or may not be that the testosterone that you're taking, probably testosterone cypionate, it may be that it's converting to estrogen.
Gotcha.
Typically what happens, your testosterone will convert to estrogen, and that happens to everyone at just a different rate. And that's one of the reasons I take testosterone is because it tends to convert less into estrogen for me than a testosterone cypionate.
Gotcha. On to
the
the
big deal. Your estrogen's not terribly high.
right. And estrogen is also very important, right? I mean, during powerlifting, a lot of guys will try to take anti-estrogens to combat some other negative impacts of estrogen, but estrogen is very important, right?
Oh, of course, for both men and women, and that's why women oftentimes when they have low estrogen, either from surgery or from menopause, will get estrogen supplemented because it can be critical for bone health too. So, all of these things work intricately together. It's just as much art as science, and it's so individualized that everybody has to. You can't go off of anybody else's numbers and just randomly take things without understanding how